If you're looking to make money via cryptocurrency trading, you're in the right place. I've been trading for 15 years and I simplify technical analysis so we can see what's likely to happen with the price action. Today, we're going to dive into Render token. And if you're a holder of Render, you do not want to miss this because it seems they have actually released 100 million plus tokens into circulation, which is over a 40% increase. What does that mean? It means it suppresses the price. And if you're not aware of it, it does impact your expectations, especially if you're an investor, a speculator on the price action. So if you like today's video, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification because it's going to be a detailed one, but very important because this happens, right? This happens. So one of my clients, the reason I was looking at Render, it was Tommy. He asked me to look at Render and I was helping him navigate his portfolio in terms of exits, taking profits, and we're just on the ball with this. But I've got two charts here with Render. The top right is the price action and the bottom right is the market capitalization. Now, what you should see when you're looking at both of these is almost identical patterns. And when they're not identical, something either fishy is going on or something that's not very clear is going on. And that's what I realized with Render token this morning as I was just updating the chart, looking at it. So let's just dive into this. In fact, I'm going to show you the pattern first. It's like spot the difference, right? We got a big movement to the downside in price and the market capitalization. So that's normal behavior. We see this spike over here. We see this spike over here, right? Normal behavior. We saw this nice price rise in Render token and the market capitalization rose almost identical. We got this three-wave correction, which we actually pegged bang on, and there's a three-wave correction. But this last part, from around March 9th to March 18th, something's not matching up. If you look at it, the market cap in the bottom right-hand corner in the blue has made a new high. And we're going to go into a bit of detail. We're going to go into a bit of numbers because it will influence the expectations. And we need to look at this. It's gone to a new high over here, right? It's doubled in market cap. However, the price has only gone up around 42%. It hasn't made a new high. Like, that doesn't make sense. So the only way that can normally occur, and correct me if I'm wrong, is if there's been a lot of new tokens into circulation that suppresses the price. So let's just go into a few numbers, right? So I've just spent a bit of time this morning breaking down the numbers, and let me just pull it up like so. So down here on the 9th of March, the market capitalization, just going by CoinMarketCap data, so these are pretty accurate numbers from CoinMarketCap, it was 272 million market capitalization. And by March 18th, literally just, almost just, 9 days, it doubled, 552 million, right? So that's a 103% increase in market capitalization. Now, if the tokens in circulation were actually the same throughout the whole period, the price should also double. So let's just look at what happened with the price. The price should have gone from $1.07, give or take, to $2.14. That's an increase of 103% in correlation. But what actually happened is that the price only went to $1.52. That means it's only a 42% increase in price. So there's something going on here. Now, look, I'm not a fundamentalist when it comes to Render. I'm sure it's a fantastic project. I know there's a lot of hodlers and everything else. What I'm looking at here is the technical analysis, the price action, because a lot of people that are buying Render is for investment purposes. It's for speculation. Buy low, sell high. But the price should have gone to $2.14, but only went to $1.52. So let's just look at this, and I'm going to pull up a chart, and I'm going to go into a bit of detail on what does that mean and what can we expect to happen, also taking into consideration Bitcoin's position. Because Bitcoin, if it's going to likely go through a correction, that will influence projects like Render as well as everything else on the market. So on the 9th of March, which is down here, there was approximately, just done the math, basically 272 million divided by $1.07 gives us approximately 254 million tokens in circulation. So that's all fine, nothing strange over there. But when we do 552 million divided by $1.52, we get what's in circulation right now, 361 million. What concerns me, now I'm sure it's somewhere, I couldn't find it online in the roadmap or something's unlocked, or there's a new liquidity pool, whatever it is for the reason. But that's quite an aggressive release of new tokens for whichever reason from, well, increased by 42%. That's 107 million new tokens into circulation, right? That's a lot of tokens, considering that Bitcoin only releases, is a fraction. So this is, it's a concern of mine. It's a concern of mine. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to pull up a chart of Render. And the reason I'm looking at this is because I have students and I mentor, I coach, and one of my students, he was interested in Render token, and I was just helping him. So I'm just going to pull this up over here because we need to make some business decisions over here based on what do we anticipate is going to happen next. So if we're looking at the price action alone, what's happened is a bit confusing because I just want to emphasize these points because it might not be entirely clear. The market cap looks like it's done a 1, 2, 3, 4. This is me drawing with a mouse. 5. Right? That's textbook Elliott wave because markets tend to move in 5s and 3s. And after a 5 clear wave movement to the upside, you'll typically get a 3-wave correction. But when we're looking at the price action, it looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4. And this doesn't look like a wave 5 because it hasn't exceeded this. And that's typical buying and selling behavior, right? And stick with me on this because if you can get this into your mind, because a lot of people get confused about what drives the market price. And the reason I looked into detail is because of Bitcoin, right? So Bitcoin is the category king and everything else is influenced by Bitcoin. We know that. There is a correlation. And what Bitcoin has done in recent times is done a textbook 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? That's just textbook. And what I'm anticipating with Bitcoin, I'm shorting Bitcoin at the moment, and I'm anticipating some type of 3-wave correction, right? That's what I'm anticipating with, just from a technical standpoint. After a 5-wave move, this is typical panic buying. Wave 5 is very extended, and we're due a correction. Doesn't mean it's going to occur, it just means it's very likely to occur. So when I was looking at Render token this morning, almost just for the fun of it, to help out one of my students, I was looking at the price action going, this is strange because what looks to be the case from a technical standpoint is that the market should continue to the upside. But that doesn't correlate with Bitcoin. So that's when I started to look a bit deeper. So what does this mean? All right. So I'm going to do my best to analyze what would have happened if the new tokens were not in circulation or put into circulation, and what has happened and what is likely to happen. So that's what I'm going to aim to do with Render. But before I do, make sure you're taking advantage of my free membership area and getting involved in my private Telegram group. It's just a phenomenal community where you'll get a weekly Bitcoin report. It's a free membership area. I do it on a weekly update when there's new insightful information on Bitcoin that's timely. So make sure you're taking advantage of that. There is some bonus training as well. But we do a few other things as well. So take advantage. It's in the link below. Do check it out. So with Render, right? So when I've been looking at this, markets moving 5s and 3s. It's just the nature of the markets. It's the nature of crowd psychology. So if I just look at this, and what I would anticipate would happen is some type of wave 1, wave 2. We got a textbook wave 3. This looks like a wave 4 that qualifies. And then I would anticipate a wave 5. I'm just going to change this to a different color. I'll change it to green just so it stands out. And we'll make it, yeah, that would do here. Right, so that's what I was anticipating with Render. Now, the annoying part is we actually pegged this. We did the analysis around here. We was anticipating some type of correction, and then this moved to the downside. So it was just bang on textbook Elliott wave stuff. Was anticipating a move to the upside, but it was suppressed. And I'm just going to go a bit back and forth a little bit because I just want to emphasize this, right? Because what would have typically happened with this move is this. Let me just show it to you this way. If I can get rid of let's see if I can get rid of this. Would it let me? Just want to get rid of, let's have a look at this. What am I looking for? That's what I'm looking for there. All right. What I just want to do is I'm going to just get rid of this price action. And what should have happened if there were not new tokens is that the price should have gone to around $2.14, give or take, right? Or let's just call it here, right? Give or take, which would have meant the wave 3 would have went to around here, a wave 4 would have went to around here, a wave 1 would have been around here, and a wave 2 would have been something. It would have been something like this, give or take, right? I could probably do a better job at drawing it, but you get the picture. So the way you want to think about it is, it's all an energy game. And if there's a constant, which is the number of tokens, and new money comes in, new money's coming in, that pushes up the price, right? Pushes up the price. It's almost like, think of it as a glass of water, and the glass container stays the same. You pour new water in, the water level rises. But imagine if there was new water coming in, but the glass was getting wider. Well, what would happen? The water level would be suppressed. It's harder to go up because the glass is getting wider. And as more tokens are released, it's like the glass is getting wider, so it's harder for the price to push up. And that's what seems to happen with Render. Now, if you're an investor in Render and holding the token, that can be quite frustration, especially if you're not aware of it, because the price only got to around here, but really it should have got to around here. Now, again, I'm not familiar with the roadmap. I'm not familiar with the announcements in their private discords and everything else about token circulation. If it was investors where tokens got unlocked, if it was liquidity pools, if it was a new protocol, I don't know. I'm just looking at the numbers and the math. And my students that are trading Render token, and we're looking for a nice new move to the upside, but we only get a 42% move rather than a 100% move. That's the difference of if you got, $50,000 worth of Render or $10,000 worth of Render to go to 14,000 as opposed to 20,000. So that can make a big difference. So what does this mean? So let's just look at the price action like this, as if it did this. What would we anticipate next based on this? So let me just pull this back up like this. Let's see if I can pull it up and do it like so. All right. Just so you know, this would be here, give or take. Right. So this is a valid 5-wave count to the upside. What would typically happen after this is that the market will retrace around 50% plus, and it will take a certain amount of time for that correction to occur. So it might be easier to look at it with Bitcoin because it would be identical. Now, Bitcoin doesn't have that token increase in circulation possibility because it's been baked into the smart contract from the very beginning, or the contract and the protocol. Smart contracts were there back then, back in 2009. So it's in the fixed protocol. So what we're anticipating with any 5-wave move to the upside, after you've seen it to the upside, is, and this is what we're anticipating with Bitcoin, we don't know if it will happen or not, is some type of 3-wave correction. It's the most typical, common buying and selling behavior, right? After a 5-wave move, always anticipate a pullback. And let's just do this with Render token. And what would that look like? Well, with Render, again, if it was like this, which is not because of the new tokens, well, the price movement to the downside will typically be in this range, and the length of time it will take, or should I say the minimum typical length of time it will take for a correction is over here. So this is what we would expect. Now, if I would pull back the price data and then I'll hide, or actually I'll leave this part here. I'll just do it like this. What is likely to occur with Render? Well, it's hard to say because this here would have normally been up here. How's that going to affect the crowd that are participating, you and whoever else that's buying Render? Because it's a pretty big cryptocurrency. I think it's a $500 million market capitalization. So that's relatively big. It's in a top 100 coin. So I can only estimate that it's gonna, well, actually, let's just wrap up on this. We're gonna talk about market structures and the big clues that you want to look for. there's a difference between corrective structures and impulsive structures. And this is what we can deduce from what's going to happen with render, because the token's been out for a while. It's been out for a while. What we're going to see, and we can wait for, is if we get some type of 5-wave move to the downside, that's going to give us a big clue that we're probably going to get a drawn-out correction. If we only get a 3-wave move to the upside, and then the price goes back into this range, that will give us different information. But the main thing I want you to take away from today is just be on high alert that there has been 107 million new tokens into circulation from what I can see. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the only conclusion that I can come up with of why the price is so suppressed and the market cap has doubled, but the price has only gone up by 42%. So if you know otherwise, please do let me know, because there's a lot of interest in this particular token. Just be mindful when you're doing your technical analysis. That may just skews things, and it's harder to just read a market, because Bitcoin's going to be very clean, Ethereum's going to be very clean, and so on and so forth. I mean, I'll show you what I mean, right? And I think this is going to be very useful for you to see. Let me pull up CoinMarketCap. We'll go to a render token, and we'll just do it like so. And this is the price data, and then I can click on market cap for the last year, and you can see the difference. But now let's just go to Bitcoin, right? Let's go to Bitcoin, and I'll show you what I mean. I just want you to see what it should look like if there's no new tokens put into circulation. So if we go to Bitcoin, let's click on it. And we're on coinmarketcap.com. We'll scroll down. Just let it load up. Let's just take the last year's worth of data. Right, we'll go a bit further down. And this is the price action of Bitcoin. When I click on market cap, the lines will change to blue, but they should look almost identical in terms of, there you go, right? So it's identical, right? Like give or take, like it's pretty much identical. And that's because the tokens put into circulation, there are more, but it's so small because of Bitcoin's protocol, where render, 42% increase in any tokens circulation, it's going to just suppress the price. So it's harder to win. And if you're holding render for different purposes, then it doesn't matter. But if it's investment purposes, that does make a big difference. So if you got value from today, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. If you know anyone that's holding render token, nothing against the project. I know it's a great project from what I've seen, but do share this video. So let's finish today with a quote. It's Mahatma Gandhi. Strength does not come from winning. Your struggles develop your strengths. When you go through hardships and decide not to surrender, that is strength. Another way I like to say things when it comes to learning new things, because some people find Elliott wave theory a bit difficult. I like to simplify things, 5s and 3s, and then combine it with Fibonacci. That can be a really, really powerful tool. But everything in life is difficult before it's easy. So it's the struggles that develop us. So keep on keeping on, keep learning. Crypto's here to stay. Decades to come. We're at the very beginning, and there's going to be massive price cycles on the upside and the downside. Our job is to identify those trends in advance, and then ride those trends until the end.